And we are live. Good morning, everybody. My name again is Steve Moran, and I'm here with my good friend Douglas Yates.
Hello.
And we're going to be here Monday through Friday around the same time, 7 to 8 a.m. Pacific time, to kind of give you the highs and lows and ups and downs of Bitcoin, digital currency, and the blockchain. So I know Doug's got something pretty special that he prepared today that I'm going to turn it over to Doug, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the evolution of currency. Over to you, Doug.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, and I appreciate that. It's a wonderful day today. Yeah, I kind of wanted to back up and kind of tell and communicate where this whole Bitcoin thing started. It's back in October of 2008. Nakamoto Satoshi, which that's the name that he published this white paper under. This white paper called a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And it basically described, and it's a really short read. If you should go on the internet, search for it. Just type in Satoshi and white paper, and you'll find it. It's about a 6-7 page read about how this whole started, how a peer-to-peer, which means it's like person-to-person, electronic cash system happened where you could transfer back and forth. And nobody knows who the real Satoshi Nakamoto is. There's guesses out there. There's articles after articles about who it is, but we really don't know. And what one small little note is the Bitcoin is broken down into really small increments. At point 00, and there's 8 zeros and a 1. And those little teeny increments are called Satoshis. So you could buy one Satoshi, right? It's about 56,000 right now. You could buy one Satoshi for just, a few $100s or less than $100. And that's how you can get a little teeny piece and get your foot wet in the Bitcoin. Fast forward a little bit. In January of 2009, the very first software written by Nakamoto Satoshi was released 0.1 version, and it was the very first. They call it the Genesis block. The very first block was mined of Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin went to an address, and it's still in that address, which is amazing. So the founder of Bitcoin, basically has never cashed in on his Bitcoin. We don't know the reason. It's mysterious as that, and the rest is kind of history. It kind of started there, and then it was adopted by. It's an open source, which means you can look at the source. So there's no hidden things in there saying, "Hey, every 10,000 Bitcoin, give Satoshi 100 of them." There's none of that going on because you can actually look at the source, see exactly how it's working, and then people contributed to that, made it better and better and better, and it evolved. And we'll go into more about the evolution of it and when the first transaction happened and all that kind of stuff. But it's a great introduction into what Steve's going to show you of how the money's supply and what money's all about and what power we give money and how it influences society. So I can throw it back to you, Steve.
All right. It seems like Satoshi accomplished kind of what a lot of people's goals would be, right? Be one of the wealthiest, most unknown people in the world.
Yes, exactly.
He's really kind of pulled it off like nobody else. All right. I am going to try and play us a video here for you guys. This is a video I put together called The Evolution of Currency. And let's see if we can make this thing work here. Hold on. In this video, we're going to talk about the evolution of currency. Throughout history, many things have been used as currency. Livestock was one of the first forms of currency. It makes sense, as a milk cow is essentially a dividend-paying asset. But cows are not easy to trade, or divide for that matter. So the evolution of money continued. Eventually, the world learned to extract metals from the ground, and those metals became the basis for our monetary systems. In ancient China, the Zhou dynasty used metal gardening spades for currency. Other societies relied on lead, copper, silver, and gold coins. Metals work good as currency for thousands of years. They're useful, easily transferable, and divisible, and they offer the possibility of an increase in value. Eventually, bankers realized that they could use paper to represent those metals. Paper bills were far easier to transfer and spend than coins were. In 1875, the United States began printing money. Instead of backing the money with nothing but empty promises, each bill came with a legal contract printed on the front that said, "Redeemable in gold on demand at the United States Treasury." Because of that legal guarantee, the United States dollar became the most valuable currency in the world. The American economy boomed, and the United States became the one true global superpower. But Washington didn't like it. Its ties to gold limited its size and scope. It hacked away at the power of big government. It wasn't until 1971, almost 200 years after the fathers founded our country, that the hard asset period ended. That's when President Richard Nixon stunned the world when he removed this legal contract that the dollar could be exchanged for gold. Known as the Nixon shock, this ushered in the pure fiat money phase of American currency. Today's bills say nothing about gold, but instead are backed merely by the word of our political leaders, which isn't worth much, I think you'd agree. And this simple change to no longer back our currency with gold allowed the government to completely transform the way it does business. No longer did it need to restrict its spending, borrowing, and money printing to the amount of gold it had stored in the treasury. Now it had access to virtually unlimited credit and money. The power of big government was unlimited. Money literally meant nothing in Washington. Since the Nixon shock, both the amount of money printed and the amount of money borrowed has spiraled out of control. Debt exploded and the value of the dollar collapsed. And that's led us to where we are today, where once again, big government and the economy it created is desperately struggling to survive. We're a nation with a government that's deeply in debt, with a rapidly depreciating currency and a banking system that nearly imploded just a few years ago. Thanks to Washington's manipulation, the American economy is since balanced on the edge of a cliff. By the time they're done printing and spending the next $1.9 trillion COVID relief package, the U.S. government will have increased our money supply by 40% in the last 12 months alone. This means the dollars in your pocket or bank account are worth 40% less than they were a year ago. Now let's compare that to Bitcoin. Elon Musk, who's currently the richest man in the world and the CEO of Tesla, says Bitcoin is now the most valuable currency in the world. And he put his money where his mouth is and purchased $1.5 billion in Bitcoin and said Tesla would start accepting Bitcoin for purchase of its automobiles. A year ago, you could have purchased one Bitcoin for about $5,300. Today, that same Bitcoin is about $53,000. Now, why is Bitcoin going up by 10x a year while the value of a dollar has dropped by 40%? It all comes down to supply and demand. While the US government will continue to print dollars by the trillions, there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoins. Ever. According to Buy Bitcoin Worldwide, as of February 2021, only 100 million people in the entire world own any fraction of Bitcoin. That equates to just 1.3% of the entire global population. That's where we come in. This show is designed so you can learn everything you need to know about the continuing evolution of currency being created by the disruptive blockchain technology. You'll learn things like, what is the blockchain? How blockchain technology will change the world? What is cryptocurrency? And why is it here to stay? What is crypto mining? What is crypto trading? And much, much more. So stick around. I think you're going to enjoy it. All right.
Well, that was awesome, Steve.
Okay, I'm glad you like that. You know, a lot of people don't really understand kind of, the whole evolution of currency and kind of where it's all gone. And I think that's an important thing to know. And, just another thing to touch on real quick is so many people out there just don't understand anything at all about Bitcoin. I mean, as far as how to get a wallet, how to set something up, how to buy it, anything like that. It's pretty interesting. I played golf about a week ago with a young guy. He's 23 years old and he runs his family's business, and they have a big giant restaurant business. It's a very successful company. And we were out and he was talking about how they weathered the storm through the pandemic and stuff. And he said, it turned out to be a good opportunity actually for them, because there was a lot of, opportunities and some businesses going out. There's a lot of consolidation and stuff. But, when I mentioned the Bitcoin and asked him, he's like, where do you buy that? How do you buy Bitcoin? And this is a guy who's, 23 years old, real successful, likes to make money. He's like, just doesn't even know where to go or how to start. So I think we're really going to be able to add a lot of value here in this show and really provide people with what they're looking for. So we're planning on being here Monday through Friday. We'll typically be here sometime between 7 and 8 in the morning. If you don't miss us live, you can catch us on the Facebook page. That's about all I got for today. What about you, Doug? Anything else you want to throw in for today?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what you said. Is this is your one-stop shop? This is a place to go to learn about how to implement Bitcoin, how to use implement, how to acquire Bitcoin, how to use it in your life, how to use it and to build a retirement, do commerce with it, all that kind of stuff. It's very simple. You don't have to overcomplicate it, which a lot of people do. And Steve and I will try to continue to provide valuable information that makes it very simple, very easy for you to be able to acquire Bitcoin and use it and grow your wealth, which is what it's all about. One key point that will probably make every show that we have is, in that video that Steve did, you see how the fiat dollar, and it's funny because fiat used to be a hidden word that nobody would say out in the open. And now it's pretty much in the lexicon of today's society that, hey, fiat means it's worthless. It's only backed by somebody's word, and the good faith of somebody. And so your fiat dollars or your buying power getting less and less and less, and the Bitcoin buying power is getting more and more and more. So you can extrapolate that and say everything's getting cheaper for those that hold Bitcoin. And I'll end on that.
All right. That sounds good, guys. I think we're going to have something pretty exciting for you tomorrow. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch what we're doing. And please, invite your friends, come back. If you like what we're doing, please share it. Tell others what we're doing. Ask questions, comments, and we'll make sure we can get to every question and comment that we can and see what we can do to help you guys out. Thanks so much for your time.